Barrister E.K. Okorodas. A couple of days ago, I made a press briefing regarding the Eastern Zonal elections, which resulted to the death of our dearly beloved Ijaw youth at Abuloma town. In that press briefing, I sympathized with the families of the departed souls, and then call on Ijaw leaders, well-meaning Ijaw sons and daughters, to, with immediate effect, intervene on that regard. And I'm glad that Ijaw people have been intervening to ensure that there is peace. As a matter of fact, I wish to commend the President of Council, Sir Jonathan Lokpobiri, on his role so far he has played, as President of Council. I wish to commend him for the stakeholders meeting he called at Port Harcourt, where Ijaw youth deliberated extensively on the way forward as far as this current crisis is concerned. And let me also commend the expanded Ijaw leaders, particularly the parliamentarians, for comporting themselves. But then we have crises that we must not shy away. At this moment, the bigger crisis that is confronting Ijaw people is the death of our Ijaw sons and at the elections. Let me call on the newly inaugurated leadership of the Eastern Zone. They have a role to play. They have a role to play in that it is as a result of the said election that people lost their lives. And so they must be very neutral, they must be very biased, they must assist the president, they must assist the Ijaw people to ensure that peace is restored in the Abuloma community and the Ijaw nation as a whole. They must not take sides on this issue. They must be very firm, they must be very courageous, they must be devoid of sentiment, they must be very neutral, they must ensure that a Ijaw nation takes priority other than any other political or sentimental basis. I wish to commend the governor of Rivers State, Sim Fobra, for also swinging into action on this regard. Let me not forget to commend the efforts of our Governor General, His Excellency Senator Doyediri, for heeding to the call of Ijaw people. In fact, as a matter of fact, I must say with all sense of responsibility that the governor is very, very key to ensuring that the Ijaw people remain united. And it is on that note that he has been at all times strengthening the IMC and the IYC to ensure that peace is restored in the Ijaw nation. So he has done very well. He is a man who understands the Ijaw struggle. He is a man who has been in the leadership of the IMC. And so issues and days like this, his expertise and experience is highly needed, and he has been doing that in his own right. I commend him in doing so. I commend Power Clark in also coming into this matter. But first, the most important thing is that the Ijaw people must at all times remain united, because we have a common enemy, and our common enemy are those who are strangulating us economically. I could recall with pride those days when we were fighting against environmental pollution and degradation of our environment. Today, we are gradually losing sight of that struggle. We must go back to the main issues why Ijaw people have been agitating. We must not forget that our environment is, as we speak, is currently in a very sorry state, because the companies who have been operating in our Ijaw nation are gradually folding up. They are, as a matter of fact, selling up their assets. And the issue is, who will clean up our environment? I think we must not allow politics to divide us and therefore make us to forget the core values of our struggle. Let us channel our energy to the issues that bettered this struggle rather than pursuing political gains. It is my advice, and I will continue to call on the Ijaw leadership to rally around the Ijaw people at this very critical moment. Now, let me be very particular with respect to the national leadership of the IYC. The internal wrangling is very unnecessary. Now, in leadership, we must understand that there are hierarchy of leadership. When you put your shoes and begin to make broadcasts and begin to say things where you are not authorized to do so, that in itself is an act of insubordination. which has resulted to this internal wrangling. But I do not want to descend into the arena of being a judge on this matter. But my simple call on the leadership of the IYC is to ensure that if you are the secretary, you must recognize yourself as the secretary of council. If you are the president, you are the president of council. If you are the spokesman, you are the spokesman of council. Everybody has his responsibility and his boundary and limit. And once you recognize your boundary, once you recognize your limit, you cannot have issues in the ESCO you belong. I want to charge them that in every leadership, like I said before, you have your responsibility. You must work according to your responsibility and not to usurp the responsibility of others. Once you recognize your responsibility as secretary, as president, as spokesman, as woman leader, as treasurer, as financial secretary, there will be peace and lasting peace. The government of Sir Jonathan Lokpobiri should be one that should be peaceful at all times. I charge them to remain peaceful. I charge them to remain loyal to one another, to remain loyal to Ijaw nation, because the old Ijaw people allegiance. They owe us allegiance to be peaceful. They owe us allegiance to be united and to fight for our common goal and not internal, personal, or political interests. I charge them to remain focused and achieve political interests. My words for the families that lost their loved ones is this: they should take solace. It is unexpected. It is a great poet, John Donne, who says, "Death be not proud, for many had called thee mighty and dreadful, but thou had not so." He said, death is just like a one-shot sleep. One-shot sleep pass, which I wake up internally. They should look at it from this perspective, that our dearly beloved children, they are just resting. And we believe that they are resting in the bosom of the Lord. It is painful, but I encourage them to take solace on what has happened. It is painful. I encourage them. I sympathize with them. And I call on the Ijaw people to take responsibility of this very family. Some of them have children. Some of them, the families are depending on them for survival. And so Ijaw nation, the leadership of INC, the leadership of IYC should, as a matter of fact, set up a committee, a welfare committee at the moment to also look at the welfare of these persons. Because to me, I consider it as people who died in the course of active struggle. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.